I have here both the Pocket Cinema Camera 6K and the Pocket Cinema Camera 4K from Blackmagic Design. When you got them both, you got to try them out, test them side by side, right? So that's what we're going to do today. All settings are going to be the same: ISO, white balance, shutter angle, f-stop, all that. Big difference between the two being the lens choices. On the 6K here, I've got a Sigma 16 to 35 millimeter zoom. I'll always be shooting at 16 because the 4K has a Vedra 16 millimeter prime. So with all things similar, we've got side-by-side comparison here with Mario, and they look exactly similar. Colors and everything look exactly the same. Zoom in though a little bit. The 4K does look a little softer. I do wonder though if that's because of the nature of the different lenses rather than the cameras. So now let's go to low light, see how they look. Again, look both very similar. These would be great cameras to use in tandem because how they match up in post. When we do zoom in a little bit though, you can tell that the 4K is a little bit noisier than the 6K. So be mindful of that. There is noise in the 6K as well. So always still got to watch your lighting when you're in low light. Now we've got a living, breathing person here. And once again, both these shots look exactly the same. It was hard to tell the difference between the two in editing. They look great. I love how they both turned out. So if you're deciding between one of these cameras, to me it's really a choice between the price, because 6K is a little bit more expensive, and the lens choices. What kind of lenses do you want to go in for, or what kind of lenses do you have? That should really be the deciding factor in my opinion. Because if you're shooting in pretty good conditions, good lighting, all that, I mean, the images look exactly the same. And hats off to Blackmagic Design too, because that B-RAW, it's a great codec to use, great format. It's wonderful in post and color grading. Okay, actually now we're zoomed in a little bit here on the live model test. The 4K is a little bit noisier now that we're zooming in at 400%. So yeah, good to know. This is a slow motion test at 120. And here, okay, if you are focused on shooting in slow motion, the 4K is noisier, noticeably, even without zooming in. So be mindful of that. And this was a bright day. Sun was out, snow on the ground, so that was reflecting up too. So even with plenty of light, shooting at slow-mo is pretty noisy on the 4K. Then when you zoom in, yes, very noisy. And also, the 6K is noisy too when you zoom in. It's very blocky noise, really blocky. I know that's common and that's what you get with digital cameras, but it's very noticeable and very blocky. I think Blackmagic was criticized in the past for that, for like a fixed pattern noise. So with the slow-mo, it's definitely noticeable. I guess it was pretty blocky too in the low light. So again, something to watch out for. Here we go, green screening. These were a dream to green screen with, to key out. Very easy to use, very easy to do the keying, especially when you bring it into Resolve. It was lightning. And yeah, it looked great. I don't have the greatest green screen setup, and it seemed to key out pretty well. So again, hats off to Blackmagic Design. If you're doing green screening, I would definitely advocate for one of these cameras, and either shooting in B-RAW or a higher res of the ProRes, like the XQ. So great cameras. So really what it comes down to now that I'm looking back at it is the 4K, you're going to get a little bit more noise, especially depending on the situation, if there's less light or if you're shooting slow motion. But that's really the only difference. In good conditions, they look exactly the same. So yeah, depending on how much money you want to spend and what kind of conditions you think you'll be shooting in, that should be the guiding factor there for which camera you choose. So I hope you guys enjoy, and please subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you next time.